Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Welcome indeed to the fastest paced soccer show in SoCal. This is Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System, covering all the week's news, highlights, and more from LAFC, the Los Angeles Galaxy, Angel City FC, Orange County Soccer Club, and of course, the Major Arena Soccer League's own Empire Strykers. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, J.R. Liebert, affectionately known as The Scarf. Thanks so much for joining me on another absolutely jam-packed episode of Soccer in 60. Don't forget, please subscribe to the podcast on all your podcast platforms, however you access Soccer in 60. And please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search Soccer in 60 on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. We have an actual metric ton of soccer to discuss on this week's episode. We will be joined by SoCal soccer writer extraordinaire Damian Calhoun of the Southern California News Group, and you better believe we'll be covering the heartbreak down in Carson as Galaxy fall at the death to Toluca. The streak for Denis and Sonny is up to 17 just up the road for LAFC, and both Orange County and Angel City have some work to do if they want to make it into their respective playoffs. We have a fantastic interview with new Empire Strykers midfielder Steven Chávez, who will certainly be a big part of head coach Obasi's attack this upcoming season. And before we bring on Damian Calhoun of the Southern California News Group, let's get in a word from our sponsor, Omnitrans. In partnership with the Empire Strykers, experience the thrill of game day with Omnitrans. Be in the heart of the action at Toyota Arena and let Omnitrans take care of the ride. Simply download the Transit app to catch your bus and enjoy a stress-free trip to cheer on the Strykers. Don't miss out on the excitement and make every moment count at Toyota Arena. Ride with Omnitrans to your next Empire Strykers game. And like I teased in the opener, we are very excited to have on, by the way, he's live reporting right now from Dignity Health Sports Park down in Carson, Damian Calhoun of the SoCal News Group. You can read his work throughout the greater Los Angeles area and beyond. Damian, we're contending with a leaf blower in the background, blowing all that confetti off the pitch at Dignity Health Sports Park, and you just witnessed an instant classic in the Campeones Cup. Welcome on the show, Damian.
Yeah, thanks for having me. The leaf blower's been going for maybe 20 minutes now. It's a lot of confetti down there for sure.
I mean, that match was one for the ages, and unfortunately, it seemed like it kind of typified Galaxy's season. Unfortunately, things looked real good right up until it didn't. That was a rough one for them. Let's talk first about the first half. Obviously, they dropped Campeones Cup, but let's talk about that first half. I actually thought Galaxy outplayed Toluca in that first half, looking pretty good. I mean, Harbor Miller, Joseph Painsel, they looked dynamic in the attack. Give us your thoughts on the first half.
Yeah, you're right. They went to halftime up 1-0 on the Diego Fagundes penalty kick. But one thing that sort of hurt this team all year, they always get into these good spaces, get good looks, and they just can't put it. They can't turn a 1-goal lead into a 2-goal lead into a first half and sort of give them a little breathing room going into the second half. Up 1-0, second half, Toluca's going to come out firing, which they did. And then they got the equalizer, and that's credit to the Galaxy for sort of fighting through that, taking the lead. But in the end, like you said, it was typical of their season. They're fighting hard, They should get something from the game, either go to PKs or something, but they end up with another gut punch.
Yeah, and like you said, we knew it was coming from Toluca, right? 3 or more goals in each of their last 5, I think it was. They are the class of Liga MX right now. But it took what, 3 or 4 bites at the cherry, as our buddy Max Bretos would say, from Castro from deep. He kept trying those long range missiles, and eventually one got through there in the 54th minute. But then the match really settled down for about a half hour, right? Everything kind of got lulled into a false sense of security. You're thinking, all right, 1-1, but you had to feel something was happening. Something did happen, right, Damian, with the goal called back. I mean, I don't know if you saw the broadcast, but we're talking inches, if that, offside from Toluca. And then the response. Gabriel Peck, who's had to have been the man all season for Galaxy, has that incredible where he's in the right spot at the right time. And you're thinking, okay, 80 some odd minutes into the match, can they hold on? And then you mentioned it. Greg Vanney, I think, said in the presser, they took it up. Right?
Yeah, I mean, even the goal that they, I forgot the guy who scored it, offside. It was like maybe 2 guys sort of leaning in that area. As soon as we saw the replay, we thought, it might get called back, and it did. And then they found the goal from Peck there in the 83rd or whatever. He's been looking for a goal for the last few weeks, and you thought, that was it. That was the one he needed. That's what they needed. But then they got beat on 2 set pieces. The free kick, Vanney took. He thought the foul shouldn't have led to a free kick that led to that goal.
Yeah.
And then the short corner that with the winner got whipped in. Guys lost their mark a little bit, and that's what happens. I mean, the whole season they've been at a point where they have to do everything like 100%. I mean, they can't cheat the game, as Vanney has talked about sometimes. They can't take moments off. When they do, last year they got away with it. This year they've gotten punished with it game after game.
Damian, you mentioned it. They took one moment off by not marking that man down on the touchline, the beautiful cross that led to the goal at the death that put the Campeones Cup in the hands of Toluca. So Pereira ends it with that beautiful touch. And it really felt like a microcosm of the season for the Galaxy. Like you're mentioning, right? They have a chance at a trophy, not able to take this one home. Let me ask you, the crowd there, the atmosphere, oftentimes when these bigger Liga MX clubs come into MLS arenas, it's 50-50 at best for the MLS side. What was the crowd like there at Dignity Health Sports Park tonight?
It was a lot more red in the crowd, which you expected. I mean, in Leagues Cup, the Galaxy, they played Tijuana, Cruz Azul, and Santos.
Yeah,
they probably had 60-40 in favor of the Mexican teams, which you sort of expected. But yeah, it's when they got the goal to go up 2-1, you heard the Galaxy fans cheering and you heard a loud roar. But then the game ended on the other side for them.
Yeah, Toluca was really able to take Harbor Miller out of the second half. He kind of disappeared. He looked great. I mean, he had that one little backheel touch to himself right before halftime. And you're thinking this kid's supposed to be playing outside back and he's starring at striker. No attack from Harbor Miller there in the second half. Looked like it really hurt. Let's talk about their win this week that they had against Sporting Kansas City. Marco Royce bobblehead night. How about player of the match day for his efforts at this one for Joseph Paintsel, the first half hat trick. And you really thought, okay, they're building momentum coming into this Campeones Cup match. Talk about what it's like for the Galaxy. For the first time, it seems like since opening day, they have a chance mathematically to not finish with the wooden spoon and the worst record in the league. What would it mean if somehow Galaxy is able to recover from that 15-16 match winless streak and not finish at the bottom of the table?
Yeah, that's pretty much all they're playing for now. Even someone asked Greg Vanney about that in the post-game press conference, and we've talked to players the last couple of weeks. It's just finding a way to avoid finishing last place. To me, this team isn't a last place team, but the circumstances are what they are. That's where they are now. And I think they got to play Dallas twice. I think they're fighting for a playoff spot, and then they finish with Minnesota. Minnesota United, I think they're fighting for something up there as well. So it's going to be tough to get out of that final spot, but maybe you get a win, maybe 4 points to get you through, get you above DC United. I think it was 24 or 25, I believe. It's crazy to think that last year they were playing for MLS Cup, and this year they're playing to not finish last place. That just says what this league is. It's just from one year to one, you just never know what's going to happen. And I've been trying to figure it out for all year, and I still can't figure it out what's going on here. It's crazy.
Yeah, you wondered with the collection of talent that they had, obviously without Ricky Pooch, without Dejan Joveljic, who I want to ask you a question about in just a second, and obviously Mark Delgado, there still seemed like there was enough talent up and down that roster that they wouldn't be in the position that they're in. Galaxy supporters, watch DC United because that's the club you want to be watching, right? As Damian mentioned, they've played 32 matches and got 25 points. You've played 31 and have 24. That's your math for the wooden spoon or not. I do want to ask you about the one goal that Sporting Kansas City scored. Dejan Joveljic puts it in the back of the net, but doesn't celebrate, right? He actually looked over, I think, into the corner of the stadium to one of the Galaxy supporters groups. What did that say about his time, I guess, in a Galaxy uniform and what that meant to him coming back for Sporting?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him before they played the Galaxy the first time, and he just talked about how he grew up here, really. He came here, he was like, I think 20, 21, I think. And he sort of just grew up as a player here. The fans all loved him. All the groups loved him. And you sort of knew, I sort of thought if he scored, would he celebrate? I didn't think he would. Then you saw, we give the heart sign and he blows a kiss. Everybody here still loved him. He got a big ovation when they gave him the ring after before the game.
Yeah.
We sort of, he came in boasting that he's going to be the future. He ended up leading the team to a cup, so that's his impact he left. But everybody here still loves him.
Yeah, and those silly salary cap rules after you win MLS Cup, forcing him to get rid of Joveljic and Delgado and everything else. I do want to ask you one last quick question about Galaxy, if we could. 17,903 in that match against Sporting. Is it, hey, we actually got 18,000 people to still come watch an MLS regular season match? Or is that more of an indictment on everything that has gone on around the Galaxy with all of the response to their lack of response, I guess, to the Angelino community? We're talking about almost 18,000 out of 27. What does that mean?
I think it's a little bit of both, the response or lack thereof. And then it's a last place team.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to cover, would I be here? I don't know, maybe. But to get 17 here, it was a bobblehead night. I forgot the lowest number. I think a couple weeks ago they had maybe 16, I believe. I don't have numbers in front of me. It's just been just a strange season. Once it's all done, I got to put some words together, sort of write why and how did they go from A to B. I don't think we will see anything like this again, probably.
I hear that. Let's check in with our friends over at National Core before we talk about Angels City. National Core is one of the nation's largest nonprofit affordable housing developers and a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. And to learn more about National Core and their mission, head on over to nationalcore.org. So checking out Angel City, lots to talk about, Damian. Let's begin first with their face, their first captain, their unquestioned leader, Ali Riley, announcing that at the end of this season, she will hang them up. A true all-time great in women's soccer, the New Zealand international, 5 World Cups, 4 Olympics, and a bedrock upon which Angel City built their first couple of years. What does it mean that Ali Riley will be hanging it up for Angel City?
Yeah, she actually talked to us today, and she went through, she was injured. It took her a while to get back. Then, her parents' house or maybe her house burnt down in the fires. It's had a whole long string of setbacks, really. And she finally made her way off the season-ending injury list. She's back active, hasn't made her appearance yet. She's hoping to do that before the season ends. Like I said, she's been the face of the franchise. I mean, the local kid who comes home to play for the local team. She was always out there facing the media, facing us, talking to us all the time. And now the long career, she's going to wrap it up. I asked her what does she have in her future? Does she want to go into coaching? She said no. She shot that down quick. No, she doesn't want to do coaching. She thought maybe she'd stay into the content area, some sort of media type, which I'm sure she'll be perfect at, really.
Yeah. And you mentioned, losing her house in the fire. She's not a player who joined Angel City and had to find a home somewhere. She grew up in Pacific Palisades. Like, that's who she is to the core. So obviously it was awful when we found out she lost her place, but she really just cemented herself in that legacy, in that pantheon of great Angel City players. She's got to be the first name that you talk about. Another player that you talk about quite a bit recently was M.A. Vignola. And M.A. Vignola sent to Portland, along with, by the way, $600,000, which is quite a large sum of money when you're talking about NWSL. But they get back midfielder Hina Sugita. Another backline player, though, Damian, gone for Angel City. Is this the case of Coach Alex Strauss remaking the team in his image? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I think he said today that he had a talk with Mark Parsons, and he said he thought Sugita was a player that they had to have. They had to get. They didn't want to wait till the offseason or whatever. So they made the move now. I guess she trained either yesterday or today. She's going to be available for Monday against Kansas City Current. But you look at what they've gone through. I mean, they've had a lot of players traded or in the last few months here. It's just been like it's crazy because remember that first year when they didn't trade anybody. Yeah. And now this year it's been moves left and right, transfers or trades or anything. But it's all Alex trying to get the team into what he wants, what he sees. And then hopefully they think if they don't get in the playoff this year, they're targeting next year as that year they really make that move, which you would think after a full offseason, a full training camp, maybe next year is the year they make that big jump. Yeah, there can't be any excuses for next year for sure. This year can be that year where they remake the team. By the way, Sugita, 51 caps for Japan's national team, 2 World Cups, 1 Olympics. She's won the Golden Ball twice at Youth World Cup. So she is a special player, and she's already won an NWSL championship with Portland. You can never have too many players with championship pedigree. But you mentioned making the playoffs. Their previous match, a 1-0 kind of flat loss to Racing Louisville, if you will. You can't have 64% of the possession and only generate 2 shots on target. The offense kind of seems to be stuck in the mud, Damian. Yeah, I think it's been that way since a certain player went to Chelsea, right? Yeah, it'd be perfect. It'd be great to have her still around. But yeah, they still, when you watch them, you see structure. You see structure, which maybe you didn't see last year or the year before. And it's just matter of point now of getting the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. Riley Kierland has I think 8 goals, whatever. And Kennedy Fuller has a bunch of goals, but she's been coming off the bench lately. Yeah, it's just a matter of that final aspect of the game is getting the ball into the goal. They still have a shot. I mean, they're 4 or 5 points below the line, 4 games left, 3 at home. Got to make a run, but the first game is against the Current, so it's going to be tough. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what really hurts about Racing Louisville, right, is that's one of those teams that they had to jump to get there. Now the gap is 5 points to a playoff spot, 3 teams to jump, 4 matches to do it. And, oh, by the way, you're bringing in Kansas City Current, like you mentioned. All they've done is win 18 of their 22 matches this season. And they've only allowed 11 goals on the season. That is not a misprint. I had to double check that. You're bringing in a club that doesn't allow goals and you're trying to score goals. Let me ask you, to all due respect to Angel City supporters that are listening, could this match be maybe not the nail, but a nail in the coffin of the 2025 season? Yeah, but to credit Angel City, they've gotten results off Orlando when they came home. They came here, got a result off for Washington that at home. They should have got 3 points against Washington, but it came away with a draw. What I learned about this league, anything can happen, really. I mean, it's just that league is just so crazy. I
I know one thing Alex said. Alex pointed to the crowd, how the crowd hypes, sort of rises and anticipation as the team start moving the ball up the field, and they're going to need a lot of that. Maybe that can spur on a couple goals here because they're going to need it soon because they got after the 2 home games after Kansas City. I think it's Houston and I'm not sure the other one, but they're both afternoon games on a Sunday afternoon, so they're going to need something this stretch here, or it's goodbye 2025.
Yeah, one of these matches is against the last place Chicago Red Stars, right? So you're hoping that they can find 3 points there, find their way up the table. It's going to be pretty interesting. But Damian, thank you so much. I mean, you just got through covering that match at Campeones Cup. We heard the leaf blower in the background. They turned off the stadium lights behind you in the background, but you still stayed with us. Damian, thank you for joining us here on Soccer in 60. Appreciate you, my friend.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Absolutely. With LAFC coming up after this segment, let's bring on our good buddy, Tim Kolotz. Timmy K, what do you say, my friend? Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, JR. I appreciate it, man. I'm feeling tremendous this fine evening. How are you, buddy?
Hey, you know what? Now that you're back here, bud, we're doing A-OK. We're back at it once again, and we get to talk some Empire Strykers, some indoor soccer. Again, the major arena soccer league, the highest level of indoor soccer in the world. And we have our club just out in Ontario at Toyota Arena, the fantastic Empire Strykers. And we have a fantastic interview with midfielder Steven Chávez coming up after we chat about a couple of things. Anybody who follows the major arena soccer league knows that the Chihuahua Savage have been the gold and maybe even platinum standard of this league for the last 3 seasons. The Tricampeones, as they printed on their t-shirts, the back-to-back-to-back reigning MASL champions. And oh, by the way, their MASL 2 side won the MASL 2 championship last year, and their MASL women's side won the women's championship last year. Well, Tim, I can say something with certainty. They're not going to win it again next season. But Tim, tell us why. What the heck happened?
Yeah, so the MASL owners meetings were this past week, and at the end of it, based on where MASL wants to go in the coming year, coming 2, coming 5, coming 10 years, they want to get back to that where they were in the late 70s and all through the 80s and early 90s. They want to be back on that forefront and be that 5th major national sport here in America. And what the owners said was that they needed to get a different level of structure to the league. They needed to get the teams to have bigger arenas, to have the ability to have 4, 5, 6 different camera angles. And then you weren't going to get that at Corner Sport Arena that holds 1,500 people on a good day with a suspect turf and, potentially some K-rails as, your sideboards. And so at the end of the meetings, MASL sent out a note the other day and indicated that the Chihuahua Savage were not going to be part of the MASL going forward this coming season.
And from what we understand, it's the Savage who elected to pull out of that. And it's tough, right? Because you have some arenas like Toyota Arena out in Ontario, California. I mean, you're talking about a beautiful state-of-the-art arena. You've got Ontario Reign who play their matches out there. You've got former clubs in the NBA G League or the D League that play their matches out there. I mean, play their games out there. This is a state-of-the-art, top-class arena in MASL. And so what you're trying to do is have the league kind of build up and get all of their arenas, all of their broadcasts, everything to one standard. And it was going to be tough to do in Chihuahua. Where they are hoping to keep that standard moving forward is out in Sacramento in the Rancho Cordova area. MASL announced at those meetings expansion coming in 2027, 2028 to both MASL and the women's division, MASLW, as the league approved franchises for both in the greater Sacramento area. Rancho Cordova will be home to the new teams in 2027, and they will make their home in the soon-to-be-built Cordova Arena. This is the Sacramento area, so you've got your team in Sacramento. You've got, obviously, the Empire Strykers. You've got San Diego Sockers. We're starting to build a little bit of a rivalry here in the greater California area.
Yeah, and you look at the new Sacramento arena, it's going to rival what Toyota Arena has, and it's going to rival what the San Diego Sockers have down in Oceanside. And this is where the league wants to go. And that's where it needs to go. It needs to be that higher level if we're going to be able to attract some of these players from Mexico, from Canada, that are playing at the highest level of indoor soccer, to want to come to MASL. That's what they're going to have to do. And MASL, I think, is going in the right direction.
Yeah, look, at one point, the Chicago Sting were outdrawing the Chicago Bulls before they drafted some guy named Jordan in the mid-'80s there. So that's what they're certainly looking to do. We're talking about crowds in the 20,000s. A fantastic addition to Onua Obasi's attack this season. Midfielder Steven Chávez sat down with us at Soccer in 60. Let's go to that interview with Steven Chávez right now.
Our guest is a brand new midfielder with the Major Arena Soccer League's Empire Strykers, having joined the club after 3 seasons with the Mesquite/Texas Outlaws. Coming off of a breakout campaign, he bagged 28 of his 29 career attacking points in the 24-25 season, while also setting personal bests in goals, assists, and points per game. It's such a joy to have with us Texas native who has also competed in back-to-back editions of the TST, the soccer tournament, the world's most prestigious small-sided tourney, Mr. Steven Chávez. My man, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking some time out of your day to hang out with these two knuckleheads right here. Let's get right into it. Steven, you spent your entire life playing soccer in your home state of Texas. Now, at the still young age of 28, and I could say that because I'm 45. Tim, he's been around since Burger King was a prince. You're making the move all the way to the West Coast and to the Empire Strykers. If you don't mind, tell us how you first found out that the club was interested in you and why you decided that this was the right move for you in your career.
Yeah, so it was like maybe like 2 months ago is when I got a text from Obasi when everybody became a free agent at Outlaws. Yeah, that he was interested in me coming over here, and yeah, man, it was just I kind of wanted a new chapter, and I wanted new air. I wanted to breathe new air. So I never been to Cali. I never been in that part of it. Just when we went to play against them, against Empire, but yeah, I just wanted a new chapter, new air.
New air. It's funny you should say
Yeah.
that because in Los Angeles, we don't trust the air we can't see. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. We mentioned that you spent the past 3 MASL campaigns with the Outlaws. Again, you just enjoyed a huge breakout season, leading the team with 28 points and also shattering your personal highs in appearances, goals, assists, and points per game. And all that on a team that finished second to last, which makes it even more impressive. Like, what clicked for you on the field? Do you feel like you always had this in you and just needed a chance to showcase it?
Yeah, man. I think it was just all the hard work that I've been putting through this past 2 years, and finally got some confidence and trust from the coaches to show it, you know.
Yeah, well, full speed, you did that, Stephen, for sure. So while you were with the Outlaws, you were teammates for a couple of seasons with current strikers Andy Reyes and George De Leon. In TST, you twice played for Villarreal alongside fellow Empire off-season signees Ant Powell and Philippe Dutra. Have you spoken to any of these 4 guys since you signed? And how excited are you about reuniting with these guys?
Yeah, man. So I still speak to Lucas Romajo and Anthony Powell pretty often. I was actually Anthony lives kind of close to me. He's in Fort Worth, and I'm here in like Mansfield. So yeah, I see him every other weekend. We play here and there. And no, we're excited and excited to go play over there. He was one of the reasons that I decided to join, you know, because I knew some people that were going to be over here, my teammates, Andy, De Leon, Lucas, and Anthony Powell, you know.
Oh, that's great. Now, at Empire, you're becoming part of a very potent attack that includes 2025 All-Stars Justin Stinson and Marco Fabian, alongside with Rookie of the Year finalist Munir Alami, and then veteran Berto Palmer, who just so happened to finish tied for second in assists in the entire MASL. We know head coach Anu Obasi is very excited about what you add to that equation. From what you've seen, what do you feel that you bring that complements what the Strikers did on attack last season?
Yeah, man. I'm excited, man, because these guys are legends. Um, yeah, man. I think I could bring some goals and assists. I like to shoot a lot. I like to take people 1v1s, and I feel like I can help the team in that aspect.
Speaking of Coach Obasi, and I echo the words Tim said, I've had conversations with Obasi as well, and he's supremely excited to have a young, talented man such as yourself, and obviously Lucas Ramalho, which, we have to obviously mention on this because if he's the catalyst to you coming here, we've got to give him his flowers. But speaking of head coach Obasi, he's obviously the reigning MASL Coach of the Year, having led the Strikers back to the playoffs with revolutionary and sometimes polarizing tactics. Polarizing on the other side, not from us. We love it. Now, most prominently, he's got his keepers joining the attack that actually contribute goals and assists. We're talking, of course, about Brian Orozco and Brandon Gomez. Like, having played against that and having watched it from afar, what are your thoughts on that approach? Do you like it? Like, how quickly do you feel that you can adapt to Obasi's system?
Yeah, still remember playing against it, man. It was tough, because the opposing team is just defending the whole time, and it works really good because we're just keeping the ball and attacking when the time is right, and I feel like that's perfect for me, and conserve energy, and then at the right time we attack and become more effective like this.
Obviously, this isn't just a big move for you on the field, but off the field as well. We mentioned that you spent your entire life in your home state of Texas. Well, and I think you already answered it. You said this is going to be your first time that you've gotten to spend more than a couple of days in California. Like, what are some of the things that you're excited to see and explore? Things to do, like any bucket list items for you when you roll out here?
Yeah, man, I wanna go to downtown LA, I see the mountains are close by. I like hiking and outdoor stuff. The weather's usually good because here in Texas it gets really, really hot and really, really cold. So hoping the weather's gonna be better over there, and just see new people, meet new people. I'm excited.
Well, the weather is definitely better here because 90/90s are a consistent thing in Texas. 90-degree, 90% humidity.
Yeah, it's horrible over here.
Hey, we always try to give our audience an idea of who our guests are as people, not just as players. Speaking of your home, you're from Arlington, Texas, like we mentioned. Mansfield, I think you're currently in. What was your life like as a kid and as a teenager? Do you have any siblings? Were you just soccer all the time, or were you like collecting Pokemon and comic books like everybody else and singing the school choir? Take us through the inside of the Chavez household and your life growing up, man.
Yeah, so I was born in El Paso, Texas, and I lived in Mexico till like I was about 9 years old. After
Okay.
that, I moved to Arlington, and I'm the middle child. I have a younger sister and an older sister. And yeah, I just grew up here playing soccer, man. And then I like working on cars. My dad has a mechanic shop, so I got interested in working on cars and stuff like this, and just fixing them and selling them or just working on them. And yeah, man,
Nice.
I really like cars. I like hiking, outdoor stuff.
Cool. A little bit of a wrench. What's your favorite car?
My favorite car, my dream car, or my
Oh,
dream
the
cars.
favorite one to the right now. We all have our dream car.
No, my favorite one right now is it's a Genesis. It was my first car. It was like a 2012 Genesis 3.8. It was my favorite car. I ended up
Oh,
selling it, but that was my favorite car.
nice. Cool. Well, you mentioned going to the mountains. You mentioned a lot of hiking. There's a ton of that around here. What other non-soccer stuff will a day look like for Steven Chávez here in LA?
Yeah, man. So I just want to meet new people. Uh, join. I know how Empire is like really connected to the community. I'm really excited for that because in Texas here we didn't really do that much. And yeah, man, going downtown LA. I'm not sure what's a lot to do over there, but that's why I'm excited about, finding out new stuff and meeting new people.
I will tell you this, downtown LA wouldn't be the first place I would go to coming out here. I live in Burbank, not too far, but in terms of hiking and stuff, look, the problem with LA is that there's always so much going on. You have to pick and choose, and you're always going to have to deal with FOMO. So that's not the worst thing to have in your life. I love living here. I'm from New York City. You're going to have a ton of fun out here, and your teammates are going to show you around. And heck, we're going to show you around. You want to get out to an LAFC game, you can talk to us. You want to go to a Galaxy game, you can talk to Gunner, because that's what he tackles. But anyway, final question for you. It's never easy to transition to a new team, and I'm sure your main goal with Empire is to get acclimated to the new system and become a helpful teammate as quickly as possible. But hand on heart, have you set any personal goals for yourself, such as a number of goals as system points? Like, what does a successful season, first season with the Strikers, look like for you in your mind?
Yeah, so personally, I want to break what my points that I had last year. Entering a new team, I know it's going to be challenging, but I believe if I get the confidence from my teammates, and I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to break those 28 points.
Well, success breeds upon success, and you obviously had an outstanding year last year. It was fun watching you from afar. We're beyond excited to have you as a part of Empire, as opposed to seeing you on the other side of the turf. And, on behalf of myself, Tim, Gunner, and everybody at Soccer in 60, we say welcome, and we're excited to have you on the turf. Nothing but the best to you, Steven.
Thank you, guys.
And Tim, you can see how excited Steven Chávez is to be a member of the Empire Strykers. And we were talking about this, a player who had barely set foot in California before this one. So very excited to be able to talk with Steven Chávez for sure. Let's get into Orange County Soccer Club. It's been a rough ride for sure recently for Orange County. Last match, unfortunately, last couple of matches for them have not gone the way that they have wanted. They built up leads in both, could not hold them. Let's talk first about their home match against a very, very good Charleston Battery side. Oh, what could have been a second half brace for Ethan Zubak. You're up going into the 80th minute at home, 2-0. And then, Tim, the dam breaks, and you're headed home with a single solitary point. Talk to us about what happened in the tail end of that match.
Yeah, this one's just brutal. A couple of defensive breakdowns that the Orange County boys just can't do anymore. They can't afford in this final weeks of the playoff push, especially when you have a game or two in hand on the people that are above you. You can't give up a couple of late goals and a stoppage time goal at the death, kind of like what Galaxy did with Toluca tonight. You can't have that. And the County boys need to shore up that defense. And yeah, they're ravaged with some injuries with Ciota out and a few other guys. But the reality is you've got to get the win when you're up 2-0 late in the second half.
Yeah, and then they head to Sacramento, which is never, ever a fun place to play. Oh. Despite 60% of the possession in the first half, they can't generate a shot on target. They give up what was a very kind of unlucky goal in that 7th minute to go down 1-0. I think it hit 3 or 4 different Orange County players on the way through. That was a rough one. But then you get a second half penalty from Zubak, who, oh, by the way, has 3 goals in his last 2 matches now, 11 on the season. And they looked gassed at the end of that match. And unfortunately, Tim, they didn't close out on one of the last defensive possessions where they probably had to, and it came back to bite them.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of these goals at the death that they give up to end up losing this match, and they don't even get the 1 point out of it. Now, you and I were talking pregame about this. They have fallen on hard times over the last 5-6 games, but magically they're only 1 point out of the playoffs. So they're going to be home this weekend for an uncorked event, and make sure you get to this game early and enjoy a beverage or two. But you got to come away with a win. There's no other things. You've got to win at least 3 of your last games for you to get into the playoffs. And if they do that, they come up with 9 points. They could be sitting at 39 points. They could maybe get into the 6th spot, right? Because if you can do that, you can put it together and you get a guy back from injury, like Tristan Traeger got some minutes, some of the younger guys that we had also talked about pregame. These younger guys that are 15, 16 years old getting some minutes. If you can get these guys to contribute, now we're talking. You had Scylla out tonight for the County boys, and he's been a linchpin to the attack over the past, the previous few weeks before they've gone on this dry spell. You get some of those guys back, I can easily see Orange County not only making the playoffs, but maybe getting into that 7th spot.
And you mentioned it, 5 matches left in the season, just 1 point out of a playoff spot, so plenty of time. And they also get 4 of those 5 matches, Tim, at home, including the final 3, and also, oh, by the way, including their next one, a Saturday, October 4th showdown against El Paso Locomotive, who's number 5 in the West. You're talking about it. If you're going to chase down the 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 seeds on your way up, you got to get 3 points in this one. Let me ask you one last quick thing about this match. Colin Schuttler back between the pipes for Orange County after Tetsuya Kadano filled in admirably in his absence. Your thoughts on Schuttler being back? I think he had 5 saves in tonight's match. Looked pretty good.
Yeah, played well. He's back from that injury after he got knocked down in Detroit. The team never really said what was going on with him, but he got some rest. Tet came in, played really well. And for Colin to come in, he gives them that calming presence that he's done for the last 2-3 years with Orange County. Being able to come in, direct the defense as to where they should go, and really get some of those long balls out after a save or on a goal kick to get that transition attack going, Scarf. I think having him back was going to be the push that I hopefully gets him into the playoffs.
Yeah, you get that veteran leadership there on the back line. And you mentioned some of the young kids, by the way. Tyson Espy, the 16-year-old, getting his first minutes for Orange County as well. Look, a rough go of it for Orange County Soccer Club for sure. Not so much of a rough go of it lately for LAFC. The boys up top have that offense revving and running. This one now a 3-0 win over St. Louis in St. Louis, and actually LAFC running their unbeaten streak against St. Louis to 6. Unfortunately, Tim, nobody with a hat trick in this one, even though they were kind of arguing over someone taking a penalty, maybe not, I don't know. So the hat trick streak ends at 3. How disappointing. But Sonny still gets a brace in this one. Denis Bawanga scoring goal number 98 in an LAFC uniform. What's it look like right now if you're on the back line and you see those 2 guys running at you, those 2 guys up top? Have we seen, I mean, I know there's Messi and Suarez, and I know we had like Landon Donovan and maybe a couple of other guys, but have we seen an attack like this in MLS?
No, we haven't. I mean, honestly, we haven't. To get, Messi has been fantastic and things like that. And, when Beckham came in, but he didn't have a supporting cast. But to have Denis and Son come, when he comes in, joins the club, and it's as if they've been playing together for 4 years. It's just been amazing. But I do have a question for you, Scarf. Are they, even with this domination nation that they are they relying on them too much?
Well, Tim, they're certainly relying on them. 17 straight goals over the last 5 or 6 matches scored by Denis Bawanga and Son Heung-min. Nobody else has scored a goal over the last full 4 matches for sure. It has been unbelievable. Now, the thought used to be that if you could stop Denis Bouanga over the last couple of years, you'd figure out how to beat LAFC. And that was certainly shown to be true. It's not like there's been a Mateus Bogusz or a Christian Oliveira or some of these other dynamic players who can create their own shot. Even David Martinez, I know he's 20 years old, he's still young, but he's been a little bit of a disappointment. Nathan Ordaz came out the gates pretty hot. He hasn't scored a goal in quite some time, also dealing with some injury issues. So yes, Jeremy Obasi, by the way, who's had a nice assist on one of Son's goals, but he's been kind of a no-show. Kai Kamara's not walking back through that door. He's playing for FC Cincinnati, and he hasn't even scored a goal yet this season for FC Cincinnati. So I'll say this. Let's let a team figure out how to stop those two first before I'll start worrying about it being too much. But I will say it's not nothing that only those two have scored. Now, last match, we saw some beautiful attempts from Artem Smolyakov from distance. We saw Marky Delgado hit the crossbar on one. He very easily could have had one. Ryan Hollingshead missed what he will tell you was a sitter for the former striker out of UCLA. So it's not as if we're not generating opportunities for other players. But, I mean, the way that Sonny and Denis are finishing right now, yes, I think it's an issue, but I don't think it's an issue that we have to worry about just yet. Tim, let me ask you. LAFC just ran an incredible gauntlet of 4 matches in 15 days where they picked up all 12 points. But now LAFC embarks on an even tougher run. 4 matches in 14 days to close out their season. And oh, by the way, that international break, Sonny and Denis aren't going to be walking through that door for a couple of these matches. So the streak will hopefully come to an end if we get some goals in those. What's it going to be like now? What does it mean that LAFC was able to run that gauntlet, but now they're facing another? Are they going to be able to pull it together, you think, with a little bit of a ragtag bunch with losing so many players to international duty?
I think they're going to be just fine. They're not going to go 17 goals in 4 matches or whatever the numbers were and blow everybody out with hat tricks every week. But I think what they will do is I think they will get a couple of wins out of this, out of the next 4 matches. I think what they will do is they will solidify themselves in the top 4, which is what you want in the playoff run. And I think the other thing that they're going to do is once these teams figure out that they actually have to attack Sonny or Denis, because St. Louis didn't do that to either one of them on any of the 3 goals. They ran backwards and let them shoot. I mean, the Sonny goal was ridiculous. He let them run from about 25 yards out to the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
I think what will happen is you'll see a Marky Delgado, you'll see a Smolyakov get on the score sheet in the goal column, not just on the assist column. And I think they're going to be just dandy over the next couple of games.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Losing Son Heung-min, obviously the captain of the South Korean national team. Denis Bouanga, who last time out for Gabon had a hat trick for Gabon as well. Why not? Matthew Chonier, who was just called into the Canadian men's national team. And very likely Nathan Ordaz, who has been called in but got hurt last time he was with El Salvador's national team. That might be it for LAFC, but I just mentioned 3 forwards and an offensive midfielder. That's going to be an interesting load to carry for players like Jeremy Obasi and David Martinez. Maybe we'll see something from the young kid Adrian Wabowo, although he's been getting called into his national team as well, which we hope nothing but the best for him. We have a showdown of 2 expansion era clubs at BMO. You've got Atlanta United coming into BMO Stadium. And look, when LAFC first took the pitch in 2018, they were doing so with Atlanta United eventually winning the championship that season, MLS Cup. And you thought this will be the gold standard of expansion clubs. LAFC should look to build like Atlanta. But then you sell off a Miguel Almiron and Ezequiel Barco and then a Joseph Martinez and all of those names that you came to associate with that Atlanta little mini run that they put on there. They're not there anymore. And this is a club near the bottom of the table, really searching for themselves still this MLS season. What are you expecting, regardless of who goes out there on the pitch for LAFC against Atlanta at home this Sunday?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. They went from the gold standard to the pyrite standard, and I think what's going to happen is Atlanta hasn't won a league game since the spring, since the end of May. It's now almost winter, and they still haven't won. It's been forever, and they're cellar dwellers. I mean, they're fighting for that wooden spoon. So I think what's going to happen is LAFC is going to come out, and you're going to get an Obasi to come out. You're going to get some of these other guys to come out, and they're going to be playing again, like we've talked about with the Galaxy. They're going to be playing for their jobs next season. So I would be surprised if there was anything but a couple of goal win by LAFC against a team that they absolutely should take to the back shed. They should take them to the woodshed. And if they do anything else but that, I would be surprised, Scarf.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup, right? You're talking about an Atlanta team that is searching for something to end their season on a high note. I just wonder what version of David Martinez we are going to get in this match. He's honestly probably going to be a little pissed off for not getting called into the Venezuelan national team. He will be available, but I believe it's because Venezuela's already been eliminated. I think, don't quote me if I'm wrong. I apologize to all the Venezuelan fans out there that are screaming at me as you're listening to this episode, but I think that's what it was for, that he's not getting called in for that. He hasn't been in a great run of form, if we're being completely honest, for the last couple of months. He and Jeremy Obasi are going to be those guys that we need to use their offensive exploits for one of the first times this season, really lean on those guys. And I just want to remind everybody where LAFC is in the table. Yes, they're fourth, but if you look at what Minnesota and San Diego have done over their last couple of matches, they've come back to the pack quite a bit. Vancouver will be riding the high of winning the Canadian Championship against another team from Vancouver this past Wednesday. That was kind of interesting. They've won 4 Canadian championships in a row, with Thomas Muller picking up his 35th trophy domestically or internationally. That's kind of fun. Vancouver's the only club right now that holds destiny over LAFC. And what I mean is, if all the teams win out, Vancouver's the only team that'll have more points by the end of the season in the West than LAFC will. So plenty to play for LAFC. And, oh, by the way, the Steve Cherundolo swan song, these last 4 regular season matches before we head into playoffs for what'll be his last run through these MLS Cup playoffs. So it'll be very interesting indeed, Tim, to see what we are going to get out of LAFC. What's also very interesting, Tim, is to see what we get when our producer, creative director, and best 11 putter together, Gunner, gives us the best 11. And it is an LAFC dominated one for sure. But let's get into the 11. Let's talk about the goalkeeper, Colin Schuttler. We'll get to him in just a second, as he is back between the pipes for Orange County for his match against Charleston Battery. The defenders, too, from LAFC for their match at St. Louis, Artem Smolyakov and Sergi Palencia, and Giselle Thompson for Angel City for her match against Racing Louisville. The midfielders, 3 from LAFC for their match against St. Louis, Mark Delgado, who's been there a bunch, Matthew Chonier, who's off to Team Canada, and the young Irishman, Andrew Morin, who looked very, very good for them. Gabriel Peck is going to slot into the midfield in this one, as Ethan Zubak pushes him out of the forward spot. Gabriel Peck, by the way, for his performance against Toluca. Ethan Zubak for his performance against Charleston for Orange County. And, oh yeah, Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min up top. Sonny wearing the captain's armband. Very happy to see Colin Schuttler and Ethan Zubak on here, as they have really got it together for Orange County. But I know you had a couple players that you thought maybe should be on best 11, or at least something to say about this lineup.
Yeah, when I was putting together my own best 11, I was like, hey, I've got Son, I got Denis, I've got Son again, I've got Denis, and then Gunnar, I appreciate him doing the legwork on this one. I do like seeing Colin Schuttler on this because although it was a draw and there was a couple of them late against Charleston, he did play one of his better games this entire season, back in the pipes for Orange County. Marky Delgado he's been on this, it seems like, weekly, and it just kills me, being a Galaxy fan, to see him play, but I couldn't be happier for the guy. And then to have Sonny and Denny as the forwards, I think it's fantastic. I think this one's pretty good. Nice job, Gunner.
Yeah, I've got to ask, am I crazy? I guess the Sporting Kansas City match didn't count for this one for the Galaxy. Was that from last week? Is that because I'm conflating the two? Some of these weeks just kind of blend together, but I don't know. Joseph Paintsel certainly looked like the best player in all of MLS this last week. So if there are any Galaxy supporters out there yelling at their receiver, however you're getting this, for Joseph Paintsel, I'm right there with you. What I thought was pretty cool was that we got Artem Smolyakov and Sergi Palencia on the back line for LAFC. These aren't the names that you come to expect, although Sergi Palencia, by the way, has been the best defender for LAFC over the last couple of years. But let me tell you, and we love Ryan Hollingshead around these parts. He is a fantastic human being and a great soccer player. But he's looking over his shoulder at young Artem Smolyakov and wondering, man, is this kid coming or what? We talked about him a little bit with Damian and I, but also Tim, he's a special young talent.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun to watch him grow up, as it were, because he's already grown up inside of the group. But to see him play as well as he has, and to be fighting for that spot on a weekly basis, to not only get minutes, but to start and push some of these other guys out. And I think it's going to be great for LAFC to watch him continue to grow. If you're a Galaxy fan, like I am, it kind of sucks to hear that. But the reality is, it's great for not only LAFC, but it's great for the league. And the reason why is because when you can have these younger kids stay in, or come to the United States and play this well for the team, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and if you're watching this, by the way, on YouTube, you can see the picture of him there. Once again, Tim, love having you on, my friend. This has been another incredible episode. A big thank you to Damian Calhoun, who joined us for our first couple of segments live from Dignity Health Sports Park. This has been Soccer in 60, brought to you by SAC Health System.